Hello, and welcome to the Pig Daily, guys. Today is episode number 14, and it's the first time we try out a new format. It is the 2nd of June 2016, and today we're doing What If Wednesdays. The name is completely taken from, I believe, Cascade from the Team Liquid forums, who suggested, why don't we get some pro gamers in, do a show match, and then after the player who loses the game, we can hop into the replay, or not even hop into the replay, but we can just have a quick discussion about where they think was the key area where they lost that game. We can restart from just before that point, give them a second go at it, and then at the end have a discussion between both players and myself and figure out what the hell they think about the matchup, where the key points were, and really get a current high-level pro gamer's perspective on what they can be doing better in the games. Now, we are going to be doing it with Harstem and Elazer. Unfortunately, we're having a little bit of trouble getting the group call working. So I think I'm actually just going to get the game started and talk to them afterwards. So okay, so we're just getting that sorted now. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to say hello to Elazer in the chat, and we'll bring him on the call and see how he's going. Hey, how you going, man?
Yo, what's up? I'm doing good.
Awesome. So let's see if we can add Harstem in, get that working.
Yeah, should be easy, right? I'm doing good.
Awesome. So okay, so I think the audio level should be okay as well. The stream can let me know if they can hear you okay. Should be sick.
Hello. Okay, I'm adding him.
Hey, thanks, man. I think that's working as soon as Harstem picks up.
Hello.
Yo,
Hey.
what's up?
Hello.
Welcome to the show, guys. Are you excited to be able to have a second life in a non-meaningful situation? You feeling confident, Harstem?
Very confident. I know how good Elazer is, and I know how good I am.
Okay.
Should be fine.
Yeah. We'll see, man.
You guys both feeling
could even-
strong in this matchup? How are you feeling in the matchup at the moment overall, Harstem?
I think I wasn't that strong up until like 3 or 4 days ago, and then I studied a bit, some replays, some VODs, and I think I got some pretty good builds now. I think if you're confident in your builds, it helps a lot. It improves your play overall. So I feel like I'm pretty good in the matchup right now.
Do you think the immortal barrier hasn't really made too much change for you? The nerf?
No, I think meta changes are more important to the matchup. Like the immortal barrier, I hardly even notice it. Maybe fights against lurkers are a little harder, but most of the time, if you get a big concave, you will still win.
Just aim.
Yeah. So it didn't change much, I feel like.
All right, awesome. What about you, Elazer? ZVP, man? Are you a god of it? How are you feeling?
No, I'm not a god because the matchup is fucking broken. But yeah, I think I feel pretty similar to Harstem because we practiced like 4 days ago and we studied the build orders together. So yeah, I have some new build orders to test from Harstem right now.
All right, awesome. Okay, guys. So that should be sick. So let's just hop off the call and good luck in the match. And I'll call you guys after the game and we will dive on in again. So good luck, have fun, dudes.
Good luck.
Okay. Go. Gonna dive straight on into this match, guys. And we're just gonna do super analytical commentary of the map as it's happening. First time trying it, so obviously we'll still be kind of learning as we go and figuring out the best way to do this format. But the best way to learn is to dive on in and just do it. So let's hop into this game and start talking about it. I'm actually really excited to see how this goes. I did choose Frozen Temple because it's a very, I feel like it's one of the more balanced maps. I was thinking Dust Towers is a little bit too Protoss favored. Some of the kind of crazier out there maps, I'm like, I feel like Frozen Temple's the most middle of the road. It's relatively small in terms of rush distance, but there's still plenty of expansions. But it's not super turtly like Dusk Towers or anything like that. So let's just put our game sound on, which apparently, there we go. Enabling game sound is always helpful. And we'll just put this on damaged health bars as well to make sure that viewing experience is not too bad. So spawning up here in the top left hand side, guys, we've got Elazer. Of course, Elazer's been making quite a few top 8 performances in big tournaments recently. Kind of exploded onto the scene last year with some almost absolutely stunning performances at WCS Season 3. He beat Hydra and then unfortunately lost to Hydra in the rematch. He's been beating a lot of really good players and an incredibly mechanically strong Zerg. Really interestingly, he's going to be going for the third base. Now, Harstem has gone for the very early probe, specifically to try to pylon block the natural. And this is cool. This is something which Harstem does a lot. He does it like all the time. He absolutely just loves trying to block that natural and force the Zerg into an uncomfortable position. Of course, Elazer, knowing he can't just kind of go gasless, he's going to go for the gas and the pool following up that hatchery, which is a very standard opening. And interestingly, sending another drone down here very quickly. And Harstem, he was just hiding the probe, but now he's going to come out just before 300 minerals. Harstem knows his timing so damn perfectly there. And he's going to come out and just delay this hatchery because Elazer right now, he's skipped his Overlord with this hatch, gas, pool, hatch before Queen build. It really screws up Elazer. And Elazer, he's not giving in. He doesn't want to just build that Overlord or too many extra drones. So he actually does end up getting the hatch down, but just delaying that for free. Harstem's just being nice and annoying, sees exactly what's going on, sees the second link speed timing. Link speed starts, and that's a very good play for the opening from Harstem. Of course, behind this, Harstem has gone gate, gas, nexus, into the core, and into the second gas. You can see that he's mined about 150 gas from the first one, and the other one's just started mining. And behind this, he's going to be going for a very fast Twilight Council. Knowing there's not really any particularly large threat right at the beginning, he can delay his mothership core and spend his first 100 gas on that very fast tech. Probably going to be looking for a Glaives upgrade with that. That would be the standard way to play. And he's going to come across the map with his first Adept and have a poke. Now he's building a second Adept, but that's just in case the first one dies. This Adept here, it may shade in, it may try to kill a drone or two, but usually it's just going to back off. Looks like, oh, he's actually going to go for it here. He's going to take a look around. So the shade is inside the main base here, and he really just wants to see what's going on. And I think that shade's going to evacuate. But Ling Speed's actually very close to finishing, so I think Harstem's cutting this a little bit close, and I think those Zerglings will just barely be able to catch him before he gets home. We're going to have to see. It looks like Elazer's not even going to give chase, so actually very well timed by Harstem. Behind this, we see 2 more gateways going down and a robo. Now what's so fantastic about having this wall off at the front is Harstem, because he's putting those tech structures there, Elazer doesn't even get to see his gateway timing for free. He's actually invested in the fast Overlord speed, so he sees exactly what's happening. Okay, Glaives being upgraded, 2 more gateways and a robo. Okay, this is a very powerful Adept pressure, and it could be followed up by a gateway explosion and just a huge wave of Adepts. And this is why we see Elazer, even if he wanted to play Ling Bane, he knows he can't really play Ling Bane if there's the threat of a really fast Warp Prism and Glaive Adepts. He's going to go for those Roaches, just much more solid than Banelings if you've got the threat of such an early Warp Prism hitting you. We're going to be seeing that second gas going down as well. Elazer's going to need extra gas income in order to build Roaches as well as tech up behind it. Harstem's just going to move out and take that third base. I am very curious, so I'm going to be kind of filing away questions to ask these players in my head. And the first question I'm thinking about is, would he have taken the third so early every single time he does this build? Or is it because he got scouted, maybe he's investing in a few less Adepts? I'm pretty sure he would almost always go for this exact timing. Zergling counter come in, going to be quite annoying. Interesting pylon placement. Normally you put it closer so you can squeeze the depths in between the pylons, but it looks like that's going to be quite powerful. Overcharge does go down. Meanwhile, the shades are hitting. There are roaches here. So the shades, they're saying, look, we can't just kill him. There's even a spine crawler and another spine going down. Elazer really overreacting against these adepts, as if it's a 7-gate pressure, but it's only a 3-gate. I think this is really good for Harstem. As long as he just is non-committal here, look, picks up all of these, and he keeps the adepts out there. So Harstem is swapping into the mobile phase. He's saying, I have the mobility advantage here. I've got more of what's going on. We have more information in this overlay, by the way, guys, which is why we prefer to do this, because I can easily check upgrades and so on easier. Once I learn all the game heart hotkeys, I'll be putting it in that one. But for the moment, look at this. Free damage. He's actually killing so many drones. That's 10 workers. And you got to keep in mind, it's not just 10 workers. But Elazer already was preparing as if there was a 7-gate on the way. He's built 12 roaches, 3 spine crawlers. And he's actually down 5 workers right now. Behind this, we see Immortal production underway. We see a Forge now finished. It is only still single robo. But Immortal's on the way. We've got a couple of sentries out at home. 4 sentries gathering energy. More gateways going down. What's going to be very interesting, though, is does Harstem go for Blink behind this? Oh, look at this. He's killing even more drones with this. This is just a massacre. Elazer, a little bit slow at getting his queens to focus fire the Warp Prism and kind of put pressure on Harstem to get in and out quicker. And just leaving a few too many openings here for Harstem. Harstem also, look at this. This is just how you play Frozen Temple. If you're playing, and generally how you play any map where you skip Stargate and skip the Phoenix, you don't want to give any time for your opponent to just be greedy or to get up to mutas or anything like that. So not only is he doing the drops in the back, but he's also going to be pushing the front, coming in here as hard and fast as he can, and he's catching Elazer, trying to catch up in drones. Remember we talked about how Elazer took more damage than he wanted to earlier? Harstem just forcing more units out, going to snipe off. Oh man, Ravages, each Ravage is 100 gas, and this is so great. This is no risk for Harstem because he can just recall out of there. The moment things go wrong, and I think he's going to recall right now, yeah. He knows that's a lot of units. He's going to, oh, very calm, ballsy play. Actually just going to separate a few roaches, kill those. And I'm sure we'll be seeing the recall very soon, though, as the Mothership core is very low. Looks like, oh, yeah, he's going to lose a sentry and a zealot for that. He's going to actually lose 2 sentries. Probably should have recalled a little bit faster, but at the same time, he was hitting the main base with adepts. He's only up to 12 workers still. But what has he got behind this? Blink. Yeah, so this is the standard transition. We saw Neeb use this a lot at DreamHack. It's a very powerful build. Because you're keeping the pressure up constantly, the threat of those glaive adepts is so powerful that Zerg can't defend with the super efficient just Zergling composition, or just Zergling and a few Baneling. Even that becomes quite dicey. It definitely could hold this because it's 3 gates, but it's very hard for the Zerg to know. Is it going to be 7 gates? Are they going to be mass adepts? And we saw that Elazer felt forced to go into those roaches, but the mobility, the threat of those adepts was just absolutely massive. But oh, the Mothership core is caught out on the map. No units at home. He's going to warp in adepts behind these gateways, but he's going to start to lose a few pylons. His whole army's going to be pulled home. His Warp Prism just sitting idle right now. Luckily for him, Elazer not shooting that down with any corrosive piles. And we see the second Robo and the Disruptor transition. Harstem dictating the pace of the game quite well so far, and now going to that splash damage. We have to think about this in terms of Zerg usually needs to shut down Protoss before the game gets out of control. So what we need to think about here, and what Elazer is thinking of, is how do I put on a timing that's going to kill him? The Lurkaden's just starting. That means it's a long way away from Lurkers actually being out, and double Disruptor production is well underway. Elazer having any potential Lurker timing working here is going to be very difficult to make work. He's on the back foot. He's being pressured by Harstem. Harstem's also going to DTs behind it, and there really is no contingency plan. There's Overlord speed, so Elazer can do drops. He can do multi-prong. If he can outposition Harstem enough, then he might be able to make this work, but this ballsy warp in the main, he's actually just overpowering the roaches with a huge warp in there. And because Elazer's so afraid of this army on the front, those adepts, they're actually doing really big damage now. With that attack speed upgrade, they can take down roaches and queens at a reasonable pace. If they do outnumber them like that. Zerglings are going to come back, and with the Spine Crawler, they should clean these adepts up reasonably quickly. And his main army has managed to retreat home. But we're seeing 4 Disruptors entering the map now. Just such powerful AoE. Harstem keeping Elazer's attention at home. And rather than trying to say, I need to get damage done with my main army, he's just saying to himself, like, yeah, I'm just going to keep pressuring in the back so you're never ready for me. And look at this. Oh, man. Adepts just Shrek Hydras. Oh, my God. And those Hydralisks are so expensive. Each one of those is 50 gas. That's massive. The Mothership Core does go down. Harstem, you know, struggling just a little bit to deal with the fighting in multiple places, but there's so little pressure on him. He's up in workers right now. He's got the ultimate splash damage units coming out in the form of those disruptors. We've got DTs coming in now as well. Like, there's no detection, and it looks like Harstem has just absolutely harassed Elazer to death. How did Elazer get in this scenario? GG's. I really think it comes back to the initial reaction to the Adepts and taking a bit too much damage there. And kind of from there, Harstem was able to dictate the pace of the game and just keep on putting on this aggression while doing it behind. Elazer said, Harstem says, get on Skype with this loser. Elazer says, in my head I won, morally at least. Alright, so we're going to get Elazer on. And we're going to talk about what could happen differently there.
Yo.
Hello.
Hey, man. Bad luck, GG. How did, what do you think went wrong there? If you think, like, give us your breakdown of that game.
Yeah, I think the first pressure was killed a bit too many drones. Then the Immortal push, when it came, I was supply blocked. So again, I lost too much. Yeah, and then I was just... I couldn't be aggressive on the map because I was too far behind. So you cannot really win with Protoss when he has the map control.
Exactly, yeah. He can just dictate the pace of everything. So, in terms of your initial response, you built 12 roaches and 3 spine crawlers.
That's too much, but I think that's too much.
Yeah. So do you think you'd do maybe just a little bit less? I know that, like, you're worried a little bit about him doing 7 gateways, like, you know, just mass adept warp-ins.
No, like, I saw the third base, so I knew it's not the case. So I think 8 roaches would be enough. Maybe 2 spine crawlers, 8 roaches. Something like this.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But yeah, if we restart the game, we would have to start like almost from the beginning. Like, minute 3 minutes 40 seconds would be perfect.
Minute 3 minutes 40 seconds.
Yeah, because I think I made my roach war a couple of seconds too late. Also, I need to make it at 3:40.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go right back to just before the first pressure. And this is something I expected to potentially happen. I was like, okay, maybe we will just restart from there. So I'm going to get that organized. Okay, so what we're going to do is recover game. Okay, we're restarting from 3 minutes 40. Harstem's going to be like, what the hell, man? It's too early, bro. Let me kill 10 drones first. But that should be fine. So, recover game. Oh, 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, yo.
This should be good. So it'll take a while to recover, even though we're starting it. Oh, no, he's already hopped off the call. It'll take like a minute. Anyways, it's alright. Elazer already hopped off the call. But that's cool, guys. So we might use the game heart for the next overlay, guys, because this is very analytical, very focused on figuring out exactly what's going on, and that sort of stuff. But that's okay. We might use game heart in future because I know people do really enjoy that overlay. So basically, what we're going to be looking at this point So I'm just saying 20 seconds for the guys, so I can talk about what's happened. So what's happened here is really this was a game. This is, oh my god, no middles for Warren. I'll put you guys in game in a second. So what we're looking at is this is something pro gamers often do, is they'll say, look, this game, even though there was small things Elazer said he could have improved, being ready for DTs, having not being supply blocked, so when the Immortal push came, he could kind of deal with that a bit better. But realistically, he knows that the biggest problem that happened is not, he actually overbuilt units against the glaive pressure and still lost 10-12 workers. So he knows that put him in a really hard position. That gave Harstem so much momentum, and he says, look, I might be able to recover if I change one of those other things in this game, but realistically, we go back to that first pressure. I want to respond to that differently, deal with that, and then get map control, be able to be the one exerting pressure onto the Protoss. So we're going to dive on into game, and Elazer is going to try to change that up. And we're going to see how Harstem's build goes when he's not able to exert quite as much pressure on the map, or at least that's the idea. Okay. Now, Elazer was saying that the most important thing was getting that Roach Warren down because he built it a few seconds too late. So this time, I think he still feels like it's slightly too late. And the reason is because he spotted glaives. He knows that the standard glaive adept timing hits you at about 4 minutes 40, 4 minutes 50. So he knows he needs to not only have his Roach Warren finish at 4 minutes 40, but it needs to have finished about 25 seconds earlier than that. So he can not only have finished it, but then also have built roaches. Right now, we see a Spore Crawler in the main, interestingly, for Elazer. Now that might be a mistake, actually. I'm pretty sure he still wanted to build 1 or 2 Spine Crawlers. But notice he's just saving up his money, saving up his lava, and then the moment the Roach Warren finishes, he's building those roaches. Harstem, once again, is going to move out and try to take this third base. Zerglings trying to be annoying there. I think, did they actually kill the probe? I think they killed the probe, because this third's slightly later. So already, just doing that small move has made it slightly more annoying for Harstem. The Lings just being really on point. And look, they're going to get another probe. So Elazer's just being nice and annoying. Look at that. Tries to run into the natural. He's forcing more micro out of Harstem. He says, look, these Lings aren't going to help at home. So let's try and force more of a response back home. Elazer does like to call himself, the European life sometimes. Say stuff like that. So already, just by doing a small maneuver with these Lings, he's actually forced a lot of Harstem's attention away from the front. And even though he's got less units that he's committed to this, he's actually in a very good position. Now, 2 Adepts are going to shade in here. They're going to start focusing down units. We are going to see a few drones come in. This Warp Prism here being very annoying. Got to keep in mind, Elazer actually is, I think he's lacking vision a little bit. Like, he doesn't have vision up there, so he does maybe lose track of that Warp Prism just a little bit. This Spore Crawler, quite good actually at zoning the Prism out, so that's doing a decent job. But behind this, Harstem's still doing okay. He's still getting Immortals out. He's got his Forge on the way. His third Nexus is finishing up. And keep in mind, last game what we really saw was Harstem bullying the crap out of Elazer. He took the early momentum and just kept doing waves of pressure and was able to just keep pushing and being annoying and frustrating. Normally, Zerg is the one who should be able to kind of bully the Protoss a little bit more on the map. Because as the game progresses, the Protoss army gets infinitely stronger than the Zergs. It's all about the Zerg finding an opening to shut down some of the Protoss' mining, to kill a 3rd or 4th base, to get in between his bases and fight him where his army isn't, and do really well with that. Look at that, just dropping those guys out, doesn't lose a single Adept, and now he's already up to 11 workers killed. The difference, though, is these worker losses are coming a little bit later in the game. Elazer's already up to that 65 drone count. He can absorb the losses a lot better than he could previously. Now, his overlords do see this push coming. This time around, he still doesn't have many units out, though. He does have about 9 roaches, but he has to leave some of those in the main. Harstem, though, realizing, look, I haven't done as much damage this time, not going to get as ballsy with his attack, and he actually left his Mothership Core at home. So simply the fact that Harstem realized I'm not doing as much damage, he already has made the adjustment of saying, if I'm not doing that much damage, I should be more careful. He might be able to have units across the map. He's probably going to have units to jump on top of my pressure. And he's already just starting Blink, Robotics Bay, and I think... Did he start the second Robo yet? No, no second Robo yet. So just single Robo for now. But this Prism is so important for him. He just keeps on exerting small amounts of pressure with it. Does lose an Adept that time, but gets one more drone. Keeps forcing an APM response out. And he also scouts the Hydralisks. He sees, okay, there's a few Ravagers, there's a few Hydras. And now we see Elazer being able to shift the game into the direction which he wanted to take it earlier. Harstem actually going to be out on the map. He does have these force fields. Even though this is such a small looking Protoss army, Zerg army is very ramshackle and very weak. With just very good force fields, Harstem can deal with that. A nice Roach counterattack down here though. And this is where Elazer is going to try and slow down Harstem, stop him from dictating the pressure of the game. These roaches don't have roach speed. Elazer is only using these roaches basically as that early game defense. He doesn't really rate them as part of his army composition. He says all my gas needs to go towards hydras, towards lurkers, maybe a couple of ravages to break force fields as well. He's actually not using those to break force fields. His units are getting quite trapped. His roaches though, trading off decently. They are going to go down now. He manages to secure the 4th base this time though. Elazer's lurker den is well underway. He does have his Hydra upgrade as well. So he's going to be able to start putting on the pressure very soon. And he may be able to start making drops even, if he does want to. Maybe send some drops around the bottom of the map into the main. Elazer suddenly has options available. But keep in mind, now we're going into that more standard situation. We've got double disruptor production on the way. The 3 immortals anchoring the composition for Harstem. But as he gets more and more disruptors, Lurker Hydra becomes utter garbage. Oh, that Warp Prism almost goes down. Really risky play there from Harstem. But as Harstem's army gets bigger, as we were saying, his army gets out of control. It's all about Elazer finding the timing attack to get in there. And at the very least, he needs to deny a 4th base. We can see Elazer already thinking about that. He says, look, if I can at least just deny you from ever getting a 4th, I can win the game. But preferably I want to push in and actually find the right timing to trade with your army as well. Pylon Cannon here is going to defend this very well on the north side. Oh, we see a big disruptor shot coming in. Does manage to kill a morphing lurker. Not too bad. But Harstem has to be very careful here. He's only got 3 disruptors with his army, 4th one on the way. And it's only when you get up to about 6 disruptors that you can always have an active disruptor shot, as long as you're very calm with them. But now these Hydras getting caught out down here on the left. Hydra's really powerful until a few Adepts decide to fight them, and then they can look very, very weak. And look at this, Harstem just poking and prodding exactly the way Neeb was playing this back at Tours. It's a very powerful style. Gets a Ravager and a Lurker there with that Disruptor shot. Oh, he's got to be very careful though. This Lurker doing some nice damage. And this is the real contest. Is Harstem saying, if I can keep pressuring you, you can't drop me, you can't get Mutalisks, you can't make those swaps happen. But he's going to shade over here. He's going to see that Zerg's actually building a few units. He's still trying to pressure on the front, but his Adepts are actually going to do well versus those Lings and Hydras. More Disruptor shots going in. Harstem's looking for these free trades. He knows he has the superior range, the superior splash damage with these Disruptor balls, but his army's still very fragile. If he ever gets caught out of position, things can go very, very wrong. Elazer trying to bully down the side of this map, but it's not working out. 2 Lurkers going down. If he had those Lurkers there, this would have been completely different. Keep in mind, there's no Stargate, there's no Oracle on the map. He's trying to build observers, is Harstem, because he knows he doesn't have a lot of detection. And continuing to just take these trades up here. Elazer's sick of it. He wants to come around with a flank. He wants to force Harstem to fight, but the Disruptor balls... they're going to zone him out for now. Harstem needs to get up that ramp. He needs a kind of a good defensive position to make this work. Bringing in an extra Disruptor from the south. He's going to be really careful. He's going to lose both of those Disruptors. He's kind of getting cornered here, but there's not a lot of Zerglings. It's almost all Hydras. Hydras are quite weak against Disruptors. And we see... oh, wow. Massive Disruptor shots. Good Guardian Shields. Elazer getting a little bit too keen. He says, like, I've got to do it now. I've got to close this game out. But he wasn't able to get on top of that army. And Harstem is just looking dominating right now. Even though Elazer defended the early pressure very well, we really see this Glaives into Robo, into just constant Warp Prism being annoying, and then follow that up with constant Blink-based play into Disruptors, just using those early Sentries, those early Immortals, to exert so much pressure, and always being on top of warping in whenever we get the chance to as well. Harstem's just kicking ass this game. This Lurk is just having a bit of a chill. But yeah, Elazer doesn't have any core to his army. All he's got is 38 Hydras, so he can't fight this army front on. Disruptors are just too strong now. 5 Disruptors in the army, that's too many. So he's sending a huge Hydra attack down the bottom side of the map, and he's going to try and hold with just Lurkers, Hydras, Roaches up here on the top. He's got a decent defensive position. It is hard for Harstem to kill this base, especially because these Hydras are coming in. Oh, the Mothership Core! Oh my god, losing the Mothership Core actually changes everything. Losing the Disruptor. Harstem's multitasking falling apart a little bit. He is attacking into the main again, but some of those units aren't attacking, and he's going to lose his 4th base behind this. He needs to push in and try and kill the 4th of Elazer, or at least do damage. He's really struggling right now. These Disruptor balls need so much micro to be effective, and Elazer has effectively split the focus of Harstem. so that he can actually make this happen. Elazer said, my army is so much worse than yours in the front-on engagements, but whenever you're fighting disruptors with this mid-tier army, it's all about coming in from multiple sides. Oh, the Lurker's trying to get on top, but they just go down so fast. I think Elazer getting a little bit ahead of himself there with that engage. He's taking a lot of damage in the main base. He's down to... Oh, he's still got 69 workers, actually. He's done an okay job of defending there. But he can't attack in here just yet. There's Hydras and Lurkers down here. They've done a good job so far, but I don't know if they can keep it up. And these Adepts in the main are still being so annoying. This Warp Prism is so powerful. I think we have to ask Elazer, wouldn't it be worth it to build a Spire at some point and squeeze out a few Mutalisks? Maybe not too early, because you want to squeeze out, you know, your first attack. But after that, wouldn't it be worth getting that? And oh man. Okay, so Harstem snipes the 4th, and now Harstem's got to feel very good. However, there's 2 new bases down here. So Elazer's definitely still got good unit producing capabilities, but if Harstem can kind of get in between his bases, and that's going to be scary. This is still a very small ball for Harstem. Harstem's trying to dictate the pace of the game with this small force, and oh man, okay. He finally lands the disruptor shots. Keep in mind that as long as he's kind of forcing Elazer to fight in one area, each time he pressures, it allows him to put all of his focus on the disruptor shots, and that's when he gets the money hits. That's why he's constantly pressuring. It's not just to stop Mutalisks, it's also because it allows him to use his disruptors to maximum effect. And even though he loses a lot of units on the retreat here, Elazer can't really afford to replenish those either. And if Harstem gets this 5th up... Oh, that is actually only his 4th base, so if we look at the units lost, obviously Elazer's lost way more units, but he still hasn't replaced the 4th, so this is actually his only new base. In terms of mining, Elazer is mining a lot more resources right now. But really the only time he took good trades was when he split up his army. And Harstem's just been too good at keeping the fighting on Elazer's side of the map, so Elazer didn't have a chance to choose where he wanted to fight. Elazer's always reacting to Harstem. Harstem's able to dictate the pace of the game, and that's what's causing this to go so well for him. Even though Elazer in this rematch has actually... He's kind of had a chance to defend the early pressure much better. The game went much calmer for him. Harstem just looking too good right there. GG's. Damn. That was actually a little bit unexpected. I thought that game that Elazer had a really good shot, and especially when he came down and got the 4th, but a few really good disruptor shots makes all the difference. So let's get the guys in and let's have a chat. And let's take a look at that. So if they're willing, because it's been not that long a show, we might play one more as well. So let me just call Elazer, and then I'll get him to add Harstem in. Hey, can you add Harstem into the call again?
Yeah.
And we'll get both of you in, and we'll kind of have a chat. Yo, Harstem?
Hello.
Hey, man. GG, well played.
GG.
Alright. How do you feel about those games, Harstem? Were you a little bit worried when you didn't kill as much with your initial pressure, or did you still feel like the game was just kind of going the way it normally does?
Well, he got in with a bunch of links, so that sucked. Like I lost a bit of mining time, and not everything was as smooth after. I got supply blocked as well once, but I felt like he still was on a pretty low drone count most of the time, and I got quite a few drone kills still with my adepts, like in the prism. Like I didn't get quite as many as the first time, but he had 2 spines, 1 spore, so I think it's still okay. I don't need to do a lot, and I still got a bunch at his 3rd base. I think like 4 or 5, and 1 or 2 in the main.
Yeah, the follow-up drop actually killed quite a few drones there, so it balanced out really nicely. And that warp prism was actually really annoying. So yeah, Elazer, I wanted to ask you, do you think there was something you could have done better against the warp prism? Do you ever think it's worth getting a Spire just to shut the warp prism down?
No, I think it's too expensive. Like, you will lose 100% to the immortal time. So you need Ravagers first, and then you might think about Spire. But yeah, that's later, not at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, if you did go it would probably only be like behind when you start getting out on the map with lurkers, right? Because you don't want to slow down like your initial wave of lurkers and hydras kind of putting the pressure on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really momentum based though. Like when the Protoss goes for Stalker Disruptor, if he gets stuck in his base, like he needs to be constantly out on the map or force the Zerg to be at home. The moment that Elazer has the chance to move out once, like you just get absolutely shut down. And it's funny with how this dynamic works, because whenever you're the guy attacking, you feel really good about it. You're like attacking from left, right, some units here, some units there, Prism in the main, whatever, and you feel like you're slapping the guy around a bit. But if your first pressure doesn't go as well and you don't manage to keep him in the base, you're gonna be the guy that's gonna get just styled on from every angle possible.
Exactly. Yeah. Hold on 1 second, guys. You guys can keep talking if you want. King Kong is sleeping at my house, and he's like started snoring really loud right next to me. So I'm gonna go shake him. Just give me 1 sec.
Ask King Kong.
Sorry,
so
man.
What, we play one more or what? Ask King Kong what should I do versus them. He should know.
Sorry, I just got back on my headphones. What did you say, Elazer?
Yeah, you should ask King Kong what I was supposed to do versus
I think he's a bit too. I think he's a bit too sleepy, man. His Korean knowledge isn't going to be too helpful. But yeah. So with that style, like I really agree with what you guys are saying. It's very pressure based, and it's very much about getting on the map. So there was that moment suddenly where, even though I think Elazer was on the back foot in the middle stage, the moment you got those 20 Hydralisks down on the bottom of the map and started fighting your fourth, suddenly you started to make a lot more mistakes, Harstem, right? Because if you've got a micro in 2 or 3 places at once, you can't use the disruptors nearly as well, right? And like it's very, very hard to defend a different location where you've got like maybe just a mothership core and a few gateway units and like a single disruptor. If you're not watching, like the Zerg can just come in, kill your disruptor, kill your mothership core, which is what we saw happen. And then suddenly you're like, oh crap. So do you kind of feel like if you get up to like 4 or 5 disruptors, it's very much about you trying to pressure the Zerg so that they're more focused on defending rather than multi-pronging you, and the Zerg's job is kind of just to harass from all angles and try to get in there and just like distract you and fight where your army isn't?
Like the disruptor army is extremely slow and dumb. So whenever the Zerg is attacking you, like it's an awful unit to defend with this disruptor, unless Zerg just moves straight into your 5 disruptor army. But it's really bad to split up an army that has disruptors. You can't just have 2 disruptors here, 2 disruptors there, 1 in the main, 1 at the natural, because like it's a very micro-intensive unit. It's not extremely tanky. It's quite tanky, but it just loses to basically everything. 1 or 2 units can kill it. So you want to have a big ball of them. And I think with the Zerg army, it's the opposite. I think if you have 2 lurkers and 7 hydras, it's going to be really hard for the Protoss to deal with that if this same thing is on 4 locations, for example. Because you need detection at every single place. And sometimes, like, if you don't have detection once, you will just lose everything there. You'll lose buildings, you'll lose your units that you send in. So stuff like that is extremely annoying. But yeah, I feel like it's very, very, very momentum-based, this style.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. So I'm actually just zooming through the replay. Would you guys be down for maybe one more rematch since we've gone pretty quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I was thinking about this game and thinking about the initial defense was a lot better, and even though Elazer, you did end up losing a few more drones to the follow-up drops with the Prism.
I'm still not sure how to defend that. Like, do you think 3 spine colors is needed, or maybe I need less?
I personally don't opt for the spines because the queens kind of shut the Prism down a lot easier. They can put the pressure on it. So like
you say must queens, yeah, but what if he shades to the main with adepts and I have no units there?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like queens aren't actually going to stop the adepts at all, right? They do nothing to stop the adepts. What do you think, Harstem? What do you find like puts the most pressure on you or makes it the hardest?
Well, I think for initial defense, like if it's going to be a dedicated attack where I go like 9 to 10 adepts and then I try to outshade him, try to banter him off a bit. I go to the third and I shade to the main, stuff like that. Yeah. Then I think the spines are very good. But if I go for what I did the last 2 games, where I only get like 6, 7 adepts, and then just start dropping with them. I think queens are a lot better because I'm not really going to be going for that big hit. I'm not going for the big damage. I'm just going for the small damage throughout the game, keeping my prism alive. And I think queens are a lot better against that.
Yeah, but the problem is I cannot know how many adepts you're going to make. You can work in 4 more adepts in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I don't see Spine a lot. I don't think it's the optimal response. But
so do you think I've got a suggestion then. So Elazer, do you think checking with your overlord, and if you think there's only 3 gateways, you can maybe just put down like 1 spine crawler in one of your bases, and otherwise you can say, look, if there's only 3 gateways, I should be okay if I just build maybe 1 extra queen or 2 extra queens instead of the spines.
Yeah. I think 1 spine crawler should be better.
Okay, cool. So you'd have to work in a second Overlord scout timing, right? Because at the moment, I've got the replay open. You normally do your initial scout with Overlord speed, right? The moment Overlord speed finishes, you fly on in, you check what's going on. And against this build, because there's no Phoenix or anything, you would probably need to come back in again. I mean, Harstem knows the timing's better than me, but seeing the 3rd Nexus kind of tells you there's no more gateways. But there still kind of could be an extra gateway or 2. And
yeah, but with this builder, he has no starter, so I can come back any time I want.
Yeah, so
if
maybe
he makes a starter, everything is slower, so then I might have problems.
So just kind of leave an Overlord, or send another Overlord through around 4 minutes, 4 minutes 20, 4 minutes 30, just to make sure there's nothing too crazy going on, I guess. And then you can adjust.
Also, with this build order, I think Harstem skips Mothership Core, so he should die to any pressure, so he's quite greedy, compared to mine, it's very safe.
Well, what do you mean? I should
don't you die to like 2 base throw Savage rolling?
Yeah, but I scout for the 3rd.
I still think you die.
Would you?
You want to try? You want to try?
Yeah, we could try it after, sure.
Okay, let's go.
That's something I've been curious about as well, because definitely Protoss does cut a corner with that, but yeah, I mean, let me check. What timing do you start your Mothership Core, Harstem? Like just 4 minutes, right? Yeah, right on 4 minutes. So, yeah. And you don't have any scouting after the first adept.
I'll get it earlier. I might even change up my build.
Yeah, but you take, I think, Twilight before Mothership Core, 100% sure, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, sure.
And with this, I think you die already to the overcharge rolling, because you have only 1 overcharge.
I'm kind of on Harstem's side in that I think Protoss can hold it, but I think it would be very close. Like, I think because he sees the 3rd, I don't know the exact timing, so I would love to test that with you guys as well. But anyway, in terms of this game, I also wanted to talk about the mid game because actually instead, I mean, we've been talking about the early game defending the Warp Prism, defending the Adepts a bit more efficiently. Do you guys want to just give a go to doing the Queen defense rather than the Spine Crawlers and see how that plays out a bit differently?
No, I think Queens will be too bad. They are too slow to fight Adepts, so I will make 1 Spine Crawler. Just 1.
Okay, just 1. Alright, so do you guys want to restart once again from the early game and then just kind of play out one last match?
Yeah, from 3:40 again.
3 minutes 40 again? Alright, let's do that. Okay, I'll hop out of the replay and we will get this organized. So, once again, let me invite you guys to party. Can you guys leave party? And then I'll get you in.
Full show.
Did you get the party request, Harstem?
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
Here we go.
Three minutes 40, and we will recover the game. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks heaps. Good luck. Final match. It's your chance. It's your chance for Zerg redemption. Elazer.
Yeah, good luck.
Let's punish this Protoss. All right. Cool. So we're diving on into this game. The snoring continues. Snoreception. All right, Harstem, Elazer. We're really looking at that early game defense because I think this is the way pros really seek to improve. So even though I'd love to see Elazer change something up in the mid game, what we're really looking at here is just trying to break down the simple problem of This Warp Prism is so damn annoying. And it keeps doing so much damage. So what the hell can we do to stop this as Elazer? How can he shut this down and have that cleaner early game? And this is often what you see... Whoops, I always click on that wrong overlay, don't I? This is what you see pros hunting for in their games. This is what you see them looking for as they're playing, trying to refine these small reactions to be a bit more efficient. You know, a lot of players would say, oh, the defense was better that game, it was fine. And it was better, it was okay. But it wasn't amazing. And Elazer can definitely kind of tighten that up and make it much crisper. And that's what he's going to be looking to do this game, get an extra queen or two. Only a single spine crawler is the most important thing. It's not really like the queens are there to stop the adepts, but it's more about trying to spend less money on the defense. Because even though, you know, getting 8 roaches is great, but that kind of shuts down 7 or 8 adepts pretty well. Sometimes you need to build speedlings though to compensate, a few speedlings to wrap around or something like that. Sometimes you need to adjust things slightly here or there. So we're going to see how Elazer does without having those spines as sort of an insurance policy. Is it going to be good enough? Once again, the Ling's coming in, doing some good counter harass there. Look at this, roaches splitting into the potential locations. The Warp Prism, it's going to pick up those adepts and it's going to just kind of fly on in. Uh-oh. I think that might have been a misclick. That was a bit odd from Harstem. We do see that simply kind of having the units ready kind of on top of it has already motivated Harstem to say, I really don't want to just YOLO in there. Remember the first time he was a little bit more cavalier and kind of back and forth with his units, but this time Elazer was just so on top of it because he's so mentally prepared for what's happening that even on just a basic level, his execution is really quite good. You know, he can pick off a drone or two there. This is always going to happen. Definitely needs to focus fire, I think, the Warp Prism a little bit better with queens. Just to kind of push it out of there and give Harstem less leeway. Make Harstem pull back and regenerate shields for longer, that sort of stuff. Nonetheless, though, we are seeing 62, 63 drones to 52 probes. We've only lost 3 workers. Things are looking good for Elazer right now. They really are. An extra queen here. Yeah, they're not going to kill these adepts too well, but if they were shooting the Warp Prism right now, then that would actually be really powerful. And even there, yeah, it loses 2 more drones, but the Warp Prism is taking damage. The Warp Prism can't stay in there nearly as long anymore. Elazer does see over here. He's like, okay, you're getting sentries. I know exactly what's going on. I mean, he's been scouting with Overlord speed. He knows how this build plays out. There's one thing we haven't pointed out for Elazer this whole time, which is this Observer. And that's something we need to point out to Elazer after this game. We need to say, by the way, something we forgot to mention. Every game, Harstem has seen literally everything that you're doing with this Observer. And even just something as small as that. Because Elazer, you know, we've been talking about what he thought happened, but without actually opening the replays, even pro gamers miss these little details. They're like, oh, you know what, I keep forgetting to make an Overseer and actually checking that he doesn't have an Observer just camping around my bases. Now we see Elazer here doesn't drone the 4th base. That's very standard. Like, he doesn't drone it ahead of time. He waits till he gets roaches and ravages up so that he can defend against this pressure. And then he's building some hydras, and only then did he kind of add those drones. And as soon as he holds off this pressure, that's when he takes the gases up here. This is a very strong pressure out of Harstem. But with the corrosive bile here to deal with the force fields, it gets quite scary. Harstem, though, he's just going to keep on doing this force field versus corrosive bile wall for now. This is a very ballsy push, though. The thing is, yeah, as Elazer breaks through, things get very difficult for Harstem. And Harstem starts losing his very expensive units here. He's really committing in, but he's out of force field now. And yeah, he needs to pull back. Decent force fields, but not amazing. 1 immortal goes down. He's got another immortal that goes down. Elazer's getting an okay trade here. And oh, the Warp Prism almost goes down, but Elazer's actually losing a lot of expensive units. I don't know who's coming out on top here. Normally my instincts say this is always better for Zerg to trade units evenly like this. Because Protoss doesn't have the power units up, the Immortals and Sentries really were his equivalent of power units in the early stage. And having lost all the Sentries and 2 of the Immortals, suddenly there's no anchor for Protoss. On the other hand though, if we look at it from Elazer's perspective, He's got a lurker down, that's great. He doesn't have any gas though. He's lost so many Hydras, lost a few Ravagers. He really needs to get this gas mining on that 4th base. He's going to keep looking to be aggressive a little bit, poke around, see what he can get done. Excuse me. But Harstem here is looking pretty good. 4th base is going down. Harstem still does the old school cannon setup on the Nexus, which is interesting, leaving that space. A lot of players leave only the single gap to wedge an Adept in against Zergling pressure. But Harstem does the older hot style. And, you know, later on in the game when you're maxed and you don't have any warp-ins, having cannons wedged in like that is absolutely money versus Zerglings. Elazer, though, I would say is in a decent position. This game looks reasonably even. But here we go. Elazer's coming down here. These Adepts are going to be caught in the open on their own against these Hydras. Now, the question is, does Harstem keep pushing the north side, or does he pull back? It looks like he's going to keep pushing. Forces the Hydras to retreat by shading past, and takes this opportunity to dart up the northern side of the map. He's just going to push on up here. But, oh man, he's just going to lose his front-running Disruptor. His units are in trouble. Thinking, oh, there's so many units on the left. He wasn't expecting there to be any sizable army on the right-hand side. He's having to warp in more Adepts and Stalkers on the left. He knows that if he has enough Adepts with Glaives, they can take on the Hydras. But up here on the north side, he doesn't have that many Adepts. He's only got that one Disruptor, and it's on cooldown. Harstem's in a lot of trouble, you know. He's really struggling to fight in multiple places like this. He's going to get one very good Disruptor shot. Does hit a lot of units there. And Elazer's getting very ballsy. He's pushing in multiple angles, really trying to force the mistakes out of Harstem, and I think it's working very well. But we see a big Disruptor shot there. This army gets held. Meanwhile, Pylon Cannon plus this army shreds the Hydras, and that may have been an overextension. However, let's think about detection. There are 0 observers on the map, and right now there are lurkers in range of the base. Disruptors don't need detection. They can just figure out where the lurkers are and still blast them down, but yeah, Elazer's found the openings. He's just coming in. Harstem's unable to kind of micro every single unit in every location all at once. And it looks like even with these Disruptors up, they're not going to be enough. Elazer's managed to find that timing, and suddenly we finally get to see Zerg get in his element and actually control the pace of the game a bit better, block the pressure much more efficiently. And this game has turned upside down from its previous iterations. Harstem just wedged in there, and Elazer finds the timing. He's got a lurker down there with 17 kills, oh my god. Just coming in from all angles. And the ball of Protoss, which is so strong when it's attacking, when it's dictating the pace of the game, suddenly not so good when it's defending here, 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 all without detection, especially when that early pressure doesn't go so well. So I'll get the guys on the call just quickly, and we will kind of summarize our thoughts on the matchup, on what went wrong in what went on in these games, and just generally kind of ZVP. It's just crazy how big that difference is. When you see the Zerg actually kind of just being able to put that pressure on and split apart that Disruptor army, especially when Harstem's attention was split and he couldn't micro 3 different fights at once. But there was also a lot more momentum as well. Hey Harstem, hey Elazer.
Hey, why did you lose Harstem?
Why did I lose? I think after 3 tries. I don't think my... I got actually... If my warp-in finishes from the warp prism, I think I win the game.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too.
So that was a bit bad by me. I guess that I didn't... Like, I could have just waited with warp again after I killed your last Ravager, or moved it a bit further back. So that was a bit bad. Then when I pushed the top, I lost my first Disruptor for free because you were distracting me in the bottom. And I didn't have... I couldn't find my... I don't think I built enough observers. Like the push that you did on my 3rd when you broke down the ropes, I was expecting it at my 4th. So I was there with a bunch of units and a cannon, so I didn't get an observer there. Then you hit at my 3rd, and even, like, I lost a way bigger army than you over there. I think that was the main reason I lost, because that was basically all my gateway units. And I didn't have anything to support my Disruptors, because I think the game was still kind of close, no? Like I had...
yeah, I'm not sure. I had like 80 drones, I think. And 5 days, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I guess it was...
Hey, the power of Disruptors. It's always close as long as Protoss lives, right? Like, I don't know. I think losing the power units, what you said about the Warp Prism dying, being the key point is like spot on. And it's really good to, you know, have a pro on the show to actually say that, because you identify this one moment very quickly where you're like, look, at that moment you were pushing very hard because you sensed weakness, right? You were like, nah, if I just keep warping in up here with Stalkers and Adepts, you felt like you could kind of just trade really well. And if you got that extra Adept warp in, you would have kept the Immortals alive, right? You would have kept a few Sentries alive, because there was just that like barely enough Zerg units to overwhelm. And the moment you lose the Immortals and Sentries, then it's really bad.
It was just Hydras, and like there was going to be some Link follow-up, but Adepts are great against both. So, and another thing, I forgot my Robo Bay. Well, I forgot it. Like I didn't have money at a certain point, and then we started fighting, and I should have built it at the start of the fight. Or like in the middle of the fight or something like that. But instead, I did it after the fight, so I basically wasn't multitasking the best. I guess it's pretty hard with the armies that we had against Baal and stuff. You can't really look back at the base, but yeah, I should have done that before the fight for sure, because now I only started transition after he already basically had Lurker Tech out, and I saw it very early, so there was no need not to do it. What else was there? I think Elazer played it a lot better. He didn't get as much damage. He put a lot of pressure on me, because with the links, like the first game we played, I basically was free to micro my Prism at all times. But this time he kind of stopped me from doing that, because he was annoying me with his links at the start, and his unit movement in general was a bit...
Yeah, I think the links are pretty key to the game. Like the 6 Zerglings, first you need to use them to harass, and then like I think I lost them, but they should be used to scouting, like your push, where you're pushing, what side, stuff like this. So I think like the 6 Zerglings is really, really important. Like you cannot lose them. If you lose them, you lose the game, I think.
Yeah, those sixlings were really game changing. Like the very first time that happened. So even just the little details of exerting pressure with just a few speedlings there, it wasn't like it forces the hugest response in terms of units from you, Harstem, but it's just the APM, right? If you can micro your Adepts perfectly and watch the shades, you can identify exactly where to shade. You can drop with the Prism while shading 2 other Adepts in, focusing drones down. And even the slightest hole in Elazer's defense, you can take down. So I do really like that point as well, where Elazer, when he was kind of... Do you think, I guess it's like, you know, you kind of know what's happening, right? You're replaying the same situation. So it's a bit easier to be really on point and just be like, okay, these sixlings are going to be really annoying. Your defense was good. What do you think about the queens? I did notice you weren't really focus firing the Warp Prism very much, Elazer, with any of your queens. Do you feel like maybe having an extra Overlord kind of on the north side of your base, just giving a bit of vision so you see when the Warp Prism comes in, would help you out? Because I feel like you often weren't seeing the Warp Prism until it dropped the Adepts.
Yeah, I think I have even easier way to deal with that. Just make one Overlord follow the Warp Prism. But I didn't think about that during the game.
Right, and just right-click it on the Warp Prism so you can see wherever it moves. Of course, that actually makes perfect sense. If you've got Overlord speed, why not just do that?
Yeah, I thought about this, like, at the end of the third game.
Yeah, that's how it happens, right? You're like, it's always after the end. You're like, you know what would make that really easy? If I just clicked an Overlord on that. So, I think what we saw this game was like very, very aggressive style from Protoss, right? It's super powerful. We saw Neeb do it a lot. We've seen a few players. Has Zest started playing the fast Prism after Glaive style, or have you seen that at all from anyone in Korea, or is it mainly just the foreign scene right now, Harstem?
I took this build straight from Neeb, and then I improved it a little bit, changed some stuff around. Bam, that was my build.
It's the Harstem build now, man. Flaming Lips build.
Do you have time for me to relay a little story about
Of course, we've always got time for Harstem stories.
So this was back in maybe 2012 or maybe even 2011. Remember on Antigua Shipyard, there was a build where you took the two golds and just bailing busted the Protoss over and over until he died. Do you remember this?
I do remember that.
Right. There was a guide on Team Liquid written by Snoot about this build. But you know who didn't care about whose guide it was? Mini Razor. Mini for, I think, every single time he played it on Tiga, I just called it the Mini Special. And he convinced his team members that it also was called the Mini Special because they didn't see the guide. Or maybe he got like replays from Snoot or something. And every time someone would be like, hey, did you see the double gold strategy? He'd be like, the Mini Special. Yeah, I know it. He always was very good at claiming strategies like that.
Yeah, that sounds like Mini down to the T, man. I actually haven't seen Mini playing much lately. Do you know if he's competing right now or?
Yeah, obviously.
Mini?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always competing.
Because I haven't been over to Europe much, man. he's lifting. He's in the gym competing. He's at the club competing with the ladies. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a competitor for sure. Not sure what he's competing in. I don't think it's he's been playing a lot again lately, actually. So we're gonna see some either some screenshots on Reddit soon about his manners on the ladder, or we're going to see him get a big tournament win. Can't wait for it.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, thanks heaps for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I think this was really good. I see a lot of people in chat who are kind of like very, very happy to have this sort of content. So I'd love to have you guys on in the future, maybe a couple months down the track or whenever, and and have some different matchups and stuff. So, any last thoughts or shout outs or anything you guys wanted to do before we finish up?
Shout out to my boy Pig, who's hosting the Pig Daily number 14, the What If Wednesday. So be sure to check this guy out and stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no shoutouts to anyone. Good games. Thanks for the invite. Shout out to Pig for the Pig Daily 14.
I feel like I've bribed you guys. I'm like, say something nice when I ask you guys for shout outs, okay? I need them to think that I'm cool. Alright guys, thanks heaps. Alright, so guys on the stream, thank you everyone for hanging out. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And a massive thanks to Harstem and Elazer for chatting to us. And yeah, alright, thanks for hanging out guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. First time doing it, so any suggestions about ways I could make the format smoother, let me know. I do want to have webcams up in future, but we didn't have an overlay. So I figured doing it this way would be easier than, you guys have seen streams where the Skype cams are dropping out and they're just kind of like all thrown up on the screen. It looks like crap. So I just wanted this one just to keep it quite simple. But in terms of, you know, I might go in future and say, look, I want you guys to play this specific style. Like I'll ask pros and I'll have more kind of scenarios we actually get them to play out from the start. But even just going this way, we say literally just go at each other, play the way you want to play, and then we start just talking about the mistakes and naturally find the errors. I think that's cool as well because it's a very natural way of watching pro gamers in their natural habitat, like they're in the zoo or something, and trying to figure out like, hey, how the hell do they learn and how do they identify what they need to improve on? And we see a lot of those things we picked up today was like just how quick both Harstem and Elazer were when they lost their games to identify a point usually quite early in the game where they lost a lot of momentum, and how because they're playing, you know, and their opponent's playing very well, they felt like, yeah, they could have done things to recover from there, but usually it was a matter of like, once I made these one or two small mistakes early, it gave my opponent so much momentum that I would have needed to outplay him to come back from there. So rather than looking at, oh, how could I have outplayed my opponent, they're looking at how could I have kept the game on an even footing. And we saw for Elazer that was a matter of how well can he defend the adept pressure early on. Even though it was a reasonably light adept pressure, like Harstem was committing about 6-7 adepts with glaives, he was still killing 10-12 drones in the first two games. Because he was able to just drop in, pick up, drop, pick up, drop, pick up, and just micro his way around. And, you know, we saw Elazer decided, okay, over the course of those games, he decided, let's get an Overlord. Let's follow that on the Warp Prism. Let's get an extra Queen or two. Rather than putting a Spine in every base, just put a Spine in the main, defend with the Roaches, and try to focus fire that Warp Prism a little bit more. Have the Queens on the edge of the base because the Overlord will see the Warp Prism come in. Likewise, on the other side of things, Harstem, he went for a much more aggressive push in that game he lost, and he felt like it really should have worked, but he made the mistake of not moving his Warp Prism far enough back after it was getting targeted, and he lost it, didn't get the extra Adept Warp in, and he really feels that he would have won the game if he got that Adept Warp in. And Elazer agreed as well, that it probably would have gone Harstem's way. So Harstem literally identifying just that one point where he overstepped, and then he was talking about how after that, he accidentally ran a disruptor in, but he was already forced into a bad position from there. He would have had to play exceptionally well to come back. So always these pros are going back to the point where they lose momentum and their opponent can start to push them around and that's what they're really seeking to improve on and change in the games. So hopefully that helps you guys, and you get some little tips there for ZVP or PVZ as well. So thanks for hanging out, and if we have any questions, shout those out in chat. I forgot to actually ask questions, but do an @x5_pig if you want. I don't think there's any there, so I think we'll just finish up the VOD for now. If there's a few really good questions, we'll end up extending the VOD. So if you're still watching in 30 seconds, then the YouTube VOD's been extended. But anyway, that's all for now, guys. Don't forget to hug a cactus, lick a walrus, and of course, punch a penguin in the cankle. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and good night. Good night.